All right, puppers, welcome to our review of the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a few days after our wedding, and we saw the movie the day after our wedding.
And it was our first outing as a married couple.
But no, this is a movie that I've been wanting to see for a while now, especially when they first announced it. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
So Miyamoto not only wants to do a theme park, but he wants to do his own animation studio.
I was skeptical.
I was too. He definitely wants to be the next Disney. All right, I'll bite. How does he want to do it? Illumination. Uh-oh.
I didn't know that there was like this big thing like against Illumination.
They're very and they had small elements because at the end of the day it is Illumination, but it's not as bad. But like pop culture references, toilet humor, kind of like the most low bar kind of humor in some of their stories. But
wouldn't that be the writer, not
music,
the animators?
No, the whole studio. So it's like,
oh, okay,
the animation visually is good, but Illumination's writing style, their humor style,
I think
their marketing
in my brain I was just like, oh no, Illumination just does the animation, and then like there's writers.
Whole studio.
Okay. Dirt. Whoop whoop. Yeah, I guess I never noticed that.
So yeah, that was like the red flag with Illumination. And the second red flag was when the casting was announced.
Oh yeah, I was like what?
I find it weird that like right up until launch, Chris Pratt got the blunt of it, whereas the majority of the cast, I was like, huh?
Yeah, I was pretty skeptical overall with everyone.
What do you mean Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong?
But after actually watching it, I really only had, and it's a very, 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 very small qualm.
Okay.
With one voice actor.
Okay.
And that was it.
I think I did too.
Yeah. Beyond that, and they're different, because we had talked about it. They're different voice actors that each of us had an issue with.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting how, with us watching this movie, you are a Mario fan.
Yeah.
It was one of your first video games. It holds a very special place in your heart. For multiple reasons.
It is one of the few games that I can just pick up, play, and have fun to this day, no matter what it is. Something about a Mario game is just like, I'm in.
And there's a lot of like special memories attached to that, whereas I have nothing.
Yes.
I have no like past with Mario. I've never played it growing up. Like, I've never had any like special memories attached. So to watch a movie with you based on the premise of like, it's important to me now because it's important to you, but I don't have any special memories attached to it to like base it off of.
Yeah.
And I also haven't played too terribly many Mario games. So I have very little to go off of. And then to see like your opinions versus my opinions.
Yeah.
So it's like a super fan. I wouldn't call you like a crazy super fan, but like you
you
know your Mario.
I know my Mario.
You know your Mario. Versus me, who is a new fan. Sorry, hiccup. I think it's interesting to see the parts where I'm like, no, I really like that, and you're like, ugh. I married this person. So I think that it was really interesting to kind of discuss after the movie about things we liked and didn't like and why. Because of our backgrounds with Mario.
Do we want to start positive, negative, or like how do we want to approach this?
I think we should start negative and end on a good note.
Start negative and end on a good note.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna let you go first because my negative, like you already know my biggest negative.
Yeah.
And that is the pop culture songs felt misplaced, in my honest opinion. They came out of
that was like one of the first things that you said. You're like, why did they have so many modern songs? Whereas to me, it actually felt very natural in the movie because it's the 1980s. They played like 80s pop hits. And they're not necessarily in a magic land. They are in Brooklyn. They're in Brooklyn, New York in the 1980s.
For the first song, yes.
So, like, well, the plumbers. So Mario and Luigi are from that area. So that is their, everything that they know comes from 1980s Brooklyn. So, to me, it made sense. I liked that little touch of humanity, bringing the story back to, like, Mario and Luigi are two plumber brothers from Brooklyn, New York. Like, So I really like the addition to the modern pop 80s songs.
Okay.
For where they were used and where they were placed. I would have been very upset if, like, for Bowser's song, like, if they put, like, you know, a pop 80s song, because I'd be like, no. He has a little ditty that happens. Like, he needs that little ditty.
For so long, I've been wanting, like, video game music to be incorporated into these cinematic adaptations, these television show adaptations. Like, you saw me geek out over Bloody Tears in Castlevania. I was just like, cool, at least got Bloody Tears. I wanted more.
Yeah.
So the fact that this movie finally delivered on what I wanted, and every once in a while it was cut short by a pop song, I was just like, God damn it, at least I got what I got. Because the score is amazing.
Yeah.
I love the orchestral score
I think it was done really well.
Brian Tyler of this film.
But again, I think that the marriage of the pop songs and the video game songs, the orchestral video game songs together was really interesting because that's what the whole movie was.
Okay, all right.
Of, like, you have these two plumbers that are out of place. They're in this new universe that they don't know what anything is or what's going on. And the whole thing is Mario's just trying to find Luigi.
Yes.
He doesn't give a shit about this area. Like, he just wants his brother.
Yes.
So, and a byproduct of that is, well, I guess I got to save the city. So I think that it was a nice marriage between the two of, like, this whimsical area of Mushroom Kingdom and all these fantastic places that are the video game settings and their music incorporated with 1980s Brooklyn and their music.
Okay.
So that's why I really like it.
Okay.
But I do see where you're coming from with, you know, wanting...
Yeah.
The, like, music to have its moment to shine.
No Sonic music. Like, there's little ditties like da 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 da, but no Sonic music in the two Sonic movies. I'm like, we need Live and Learn in that third movie.
Oh my god.
Something, please.
Yeah. Rolling around at the speed.
What is your biggest negative of the movie?
I think my biggest complaint of the movie, too much Peach.
Too much Peach.
I really, really liked Peach's character. I love how they made her, like...
Still care about her people.
Warm and caring towards her people, but as soon as she sees Bowser, she's like, eh. Like, I really enjoyed that, but I think it went from, like, the Mario Brothers movie to, like, the Mario Brothers and Peach movie. Like, she was more of a main character than I feel like Mario was at points in the movie. Because where Mario's, like... falling off the Rainbow Road, we don't follow him and what he's doing off the Rainbow Road. We go straight to Peach. So it's like, I feel like Peach was used a little too much.
Okay.
Even though I liked her character.
There was only one moment where I wanted Peach to, like, step back just a pinch.
Yeah.
And that was in the final scene, which we'll get to in spoilers.
Yeah. And this is actually the voice actor that I wasn't too crazy about.
Really?
Yeah. I like the voice. It's not like I'm like, ugh, that voice. Great voice, but I always pictured Peach having more, like, of a higher pitch. Not annoyingly so, but like a higher pitch and a little bit softer.
Her softer, higher pitch came in like the mid 2000s.
Okay.
In like the early 90s and stuff, hers was, I'd say, roughly, sometimes depending on the interpretation, because it was just all over the place, deeper or pretty much the same as Anya Taylor-Joy, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, so, like, if we're going off of baiting off the 80s
and again,
how they saw
I've
her,
only played a few games, and I don't know that I've ever...
The newer Peach is more,
woo! Yeah. Okay, because I don't know that I've ever heard her actually talk other than playing Mario Kart when she's, you know.
Fun fact,
but,
the voice of Peach in Super Mario 64 was, I think, Nintendo's secretary at the time.
Yes.
She's just like, Dear Mario.
I just, like, not to say that her voice is not feminine, because I actually really love that voice actress. But I expected her to be a little bit more effeminate.
Okay.
Just based on, like, what I know of Peach.
Okay.
So I think the actress did a great job. I was a little worried about it becoming the Peach movie whenever it was, like, when all the Toads were around them and, you know, they're like, good luck, who's he? And she's just like, he's not important. And I'm like, okay, is that how we feel in this movie? That, like, Mario's not important. It's the Peach movie.
Right. I had the same worry.
As opposed to like, that's Mario. He's gonna be our warrior. Like, you know, something to like build Mario up a little bit. But that's when I was like, oh no, like, is this gonna be like one of those like girl power? Peach is the protagonist. Like,
I was worried, but the more I thought about it, the more it reminded me of a Nintendo Power comic I used to read that had Peach, that like she was loving to Mario and Luigi and Yoshi and her people, but she was as fierce as shit when it came to like Bowser and the Koopalings and stuff like that. Like there's a moment when like Luigi dresses up as Peach and Peach dresses up as Luigi and she's like, special delivery, and it's a bunch of bob-ombs in the comic. She's like, you're mine now. She like charges through Koopalings and uses her skirt as a parasail out the tower, so she dives out the tower.
And I would say that's honestly one thing I did really like about Peach is they didn't defeminize her, because so much what we see in modern movies where there's like a strong independent female character is they defeminize her. Yeah. You know, she's not going to wear pink, she's not going to wear dresses, she's not going to be cute, she's not going to be like dainty at all. And
she's
I think
also
that
not going to care about anyone but herself, which is the biggest flaw of like some of these female characters.
But I do really love that they kept that with Peach. You know, she was still feminine. She was able to wear her dress. She was like, because the dress is iconic. You know, like Peach wears the pink dress. And I like that they did the little parachute thing where she like, whoo, like catches her dress in the wind. So like I do. It's a small criticism, but that was like my main thing.
Mine's
I
even
feel like
smaller. The character that I didn't like the most was Cranky Kong.
No,
I didn't know what this performance was. The dude sounded drunk. He sounded like he was phoning it in. I was just like, that ain't Cranky. This guy was just awkward, and thankfully he's only in a little bit of the movie, but like I was not behind this performance at all. I'm like, that ain't my Cranky, which is funny because that's Cranky's character. It's just like, that's not my Nintendo. Not my donkey, not back in my day.
See, which is interesting again because I've never met Cranky Kong.
No, you haven't. You haven't.
So
seen
I was like, yeah, he was fine.
Single time.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. And I'm like, his weird performance, I felt like suited the character for the movie. Okay. But then whenever you were explaining, like, no, this is what he does, I'm like, oh, well, that's quite different than what they chose to do.
The one thing that they got right, that I was just like, yeah, that's the Cranky and Donkey dynamic, is he's just kind of like, my grandson or son, one of those two.
The showboating.
Yeah, it's just like a goof. And that's Donkey Kong. He's a big brute. He's strong, but he's kind of just like, he's a party animal. Yeah. The opening of like the original Donkey Kong Country is Cranky Kong playing like the original Donkey Kong music on a stereo. What's that thing called that you crank and the music plays?
Gramophone?
Gramophone, yeah. He's playing on the Ramophone. And then DK chucks a boombox at him and starts partying, and Cranky Kong gets pissed. That was the introduction of DK as a character.
Okay. So,
like, to have that character in the big screen, I was just like, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, it's just like, quit showboating, get serious.
Yeah.
And DK does not get serious.
He's just like, no.
He's a bit of a goof.
Yeah. I did like that dynamic. He was like, they came here for a show.
Yup. That's DK. That is absolutely DK. Like, you can count on him in a pinch, but like he's all about like the look at me.
One of the things that I really, really love how they did, which was something that I was gonna be a little concerned about, was how they were going to incorporate the platforming element into the movie. Okay. Because like Mario is an infamous platformer.
Yes.
And I think they did a really good job with like incorporating some of the ways that he had to like jump around and move, that I was like, oh, I can see that in a game. Yeah, definitely. Mario's whole training montage was me trying to play Mario.
So are we slipping to the positives now?
Unless you have other things you want to
I don't really have another negative other than I'd really like to see what the deleted scenes were. Because it seemed like a couple of these scenes were cut short.
Oh, yeah.
A couple times. And I'm just curious, like, what was deleted? What was taken out? Because, like, the one that really stuck out to me was, and we're going to get into spoilers, I guess. But it's that scene where the Toads get captured.
Okay.
And then Princess Peach is technically captured to forced into the wedding.
Yeah.
And Toad is just like, hey, I got something for you. How'd he get out?
So Toad wasn't with the other toads.
I thought he was the one that was getting shocked. And she was just like, no, please don't hurt my toads.
Yeah.
And then he was like, very good. And then Bowser took them all away. Isn't that what happened? No?
So he took them all away, but Toad was the only one there.
Okay. Interesting. And he didn't imprison Toad?
I don't think so, no.
Weird. Okay. All right.
Because Peach said, I'll do it, just don't hurt my toads.
Okay.
And Bowser was like, I can do that.
Okay. So he just like, I'm not gonna... All right.
Yeah, because there weren't any toads in the dangly
There weren't any
cages
other toads. Okay. All right.
because they evacuated the city.
Right. Okay.
And then Peach told Toad, like, hey, you need to go. Get out of the city. And he was like, I told you I'd protect you.
Okay.
So, and he stayed.
Okay. All right, then.
At least that's what I remember.
I mean, that makes sense. I thought it weird that, like, hey, princess, I got something for you. This will help you in the finale. And I'm
the
just
bouquet?
Like, yeah. I'm just like, hey, Bowser, security, shouldn't you?
He was taken with them. So, like, he was being electrocuted.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peach said, no, don't hurt my toads. Like, I'll marry you as long as you don't hurt my toads.
Okay.
And Bowser said, I can do that. And then they all went into his floaty castle.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah, I just feel like for some scenes, maybe they could have been a little longer. Maybe, like, there was something. I'm just curious what the deleted scenes were.
Yeah.
That's all. Wonder, like, what was cut. Because my favorite positive is the dynamic between Mario and Luigi, which can actually also cut into a negative, is I wanted more Luigi screen time. Because their dynamic is beautiful.
I really wanted more Luigi screen time. I think that his development throughout the movie was so genuine and almost sweet in a way because, like, I don't have a lot of experience with Mario and Luigi.
He was the only one rooting for Mario.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
Well, I love that, like, they felt genuinely like loving Italian brothers.
Yes.
Like, it was just so sweet to see them interact. And it's like, I've had moments similar with my siblings where it's like, you know, one of us gets mentally knocked down by a parent and the other one is like, hey man, it's okay. Like, ignore them. It's fine. And then they do the little sibling hit thing.
Yeah.
So it was so sweet to see that happen. And Mario's like hatred of mushrooms and Luigi's like, I'll take them. Like, and I just thought it was really like a very cute dynamic that they had between one another that felt real, like genuine siblings. And it felt genuine like siblings that don't feel respected at home. There was like a scientific explanation. Like if your siblings fight a lot, they feel safe at home. Whereas if they like band together, they don't quite feel safe at home.
Okay.
Again, that's not cut and dry. But that's what we saw here where it's like Mario and Luigi are like, we're better when we're together. And it's like, I wanted more of that. I wanted more of them like being able to fight together.
Like, don't get me wrong. Thinking about it, I much prefer him saving Luigi because it gives him something worth saving. Let me rephrase that. It's a lot more meaningful to be like, I'm saving my brother than I'm saving some princess I don't really know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
like,
that
I'm saving my brother.
And I love that was the whole point. Like that was the meaning, is like, I have to save my brother.
This is about family.
Yeah, I do really like that. I like that from the very beginning, Mario is sticking up for Luigi, and Luigi sticks up for Mario in his own way when it comes to like more of the emotional side of like not feeling good enough. And Luigi is like, hey, we got this. Like, it's fine.
Because the vast majority of characters in Brooklyn are original characters.
Yeah.
Spike is actually from an old arcade game called Wrecking Crew, made by Nintendo. Because like Mario was like a carpenter and then he became
a plumber.
So they kind of added that into the story, which was pretty cool. But we've never seen Mario's family before.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, he has a mom and dad, but who the fuck are these other guys?
I loved the Pap. I don't know why. He was just such a funny little touch. And I love that he was like trying to eat from the fork. Like, it was a little distracting, but so funny at the same time. Like, it felt like a family.
But it was also really a nice touch that Charles Martinet He did 2 voices. I think 3, but I picked up on 2. And it was Jumpman at the arcade where he's just like, wahoo!
Yeah.
And he also did the voice of Mario's father.
So I love that. I love that so much for a lot of different reasons. Chris Pratt got a lot of hate for how he voiced Mario.
Yeah.
So he did do the voice for like the commercial that the brothers put together for their plumbing business.
Yeah.
But other than that, he sounded like a normal person. There was some.
It was a little more Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Very
there was some Brooklyn in there.
Mario of the 80s rather than Charles Martinet Mario of the late 90s.
And it's like some of the critiques that we've heard about his performance was the inconsistency with his accent.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I can really pick up with that inconsistency was like he would mimic, "It's me, Mario." But that was usually when he was like dazed. It's me. Like, he would have a stronger Brooklyn accent, like talking to his family, which as a child of like immigrated grandparents, that happens. That's like, that's a real thing. Whenever you're in the presence of somebody or a group of people that have a strong accent, you tend to pick up that accent a little more. It's kind of like, think of having dinner with your family versus having dinner with like your coworkers. Your coworkers, you're going to sound a little bit more professional. You're probably going to speak a little bit clearer because that's how you typically sound with them on a daily basis.
Okay.
Whereas if you're with your family, you tend to slide into like maybe an ease or an accent because that is how they speak.
Okay.
That's a very common thing that happens. So I like that he kind of went a little bit more heavy on Brooklyn when he's with his family.
I liked his voice in the final movie. I blame whoever put Mushroom Kingdom, here we come in the trailer. Like, it sounded awkward.
Yeah.
Like they were purposely trying to hide something, which definitely made sense why people were worried. I was a little worried, but I also felt like people were just a little too harsh. It's just like, hang on, let's have the movie speak for itself.
Yeah, but kind of getting to the point I wanted to make with Charles Martinet being the dad.
Okay.
For anyone that doesn't know, Charles Martinet is the voice of Mario. It's me, Mario. Like, he's the one that did that voice. And so throughout the whole movie, Mario has this almost complex of he's not good enough. His dad is disappointed in him. He's not what his dad expected him to be.
Yes.
So, and that's kind of how the fans felt. Like, fans felt like Chris Pratt wasn't going to be good enough to be Mario, that he wasn't going to be the voice of Mario, that he wasn't going to live up to that expectation. And then at the end, we have Mario's dad being like, "I'm so proud of you. You did so good." And it's just kind of like that approval from Charles Martinet to Chris Pratt of like, "You did good, kid." Like, you know, I'm proud of where you took this character that means so much to me. So I really, really like that. Kind of like a subtle F you to fans of like, leave this man alone.
Yeah. You did good, but Charlie Day did better.
Yeah, I love Charlie Day.
But that's also how I feel about actual Mario and Luigi. It's like, Mario's good, Luigi's just better.
I love Luigi.
Luigi's amazing, and Charlie Day as Luigi is like spot on. Him and Bowser really stole the show.
Yeah.
Like, they were just always a joy to watch. My favorite scene, and you pointed this out because you were cackling in the theater, was with Luigi when he goes into the mansion.
Oh my god, it was so funny. I was like, it's kind of messed up, like, if you look at it in the grander scheme of things, where, like, when Luigi falls down the warp pipe and he goes to the haunted mansion, the dry bones are like chasing him, and they're kind of scary, and I'm glad that they left them scary. But then he like runs into the mansion, he slams the door on the dry bones, and he like goes to sit on the steps, and his light like flickers, and you see all the Shy Guys behind him. I lost it. It was so funny. Then you just hear,
I really liked the humor in this movie.
Yeah.
It was very wholesome. There was no like pop trends that someone's saying that's gonna like expire in 2 years.
Yeah.
Like even Sonic did that, where there was a couple like, this is
but
cool
I
to
also
say.
feel like Nintendo does that with their characters.
Yes.
They don't add the pop reference so that they stay relevant longer.
Yes.
Whereas Sonic was known for having pop culture references, but they still outdated him in the movies, which I like. Because...
Yeah. No, it was nice, but like I was worried with like Illumination and all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh god, what's the humor gonna be? And then with voices like Chris Pratt,
Yeah.
Charlie Day, and Jack Black,
Seth
I'm like,
Rogen.
oh god, what's the humor gonna be?
Yeah.
It was nice and wholesome.
Yeah.
I did not expect to like laugh as hard as I did with the dog scene towards the
Oh
end.
my god, that dog was
that was
so
a
funny.
good bit.
I love that the dog loses his mind because Luigi steps on his bone and breaks his bone. And this dog just goes ham on the two brothers. And then at the very end, when the whole city is like, oh, Super Mario Brothers, yay! And you just see the dog in the crowd just stock still, and then he just gives them, like, the nod.
Yep.
Like the military nod, like, you're good on my books, bro. Like, Francis. I love him.
Do we want to talk about the one song in this game? In this movie, I'm sorry. Bowser's song?
Yes.
I knew it was coming. This was the first thing that was like spoiled immediately. I didn't know of the scene, but I knew Bowser sings a song. I'm just like, yeah, when you think about it, Jack Black, Bowser, got it. So as soon as it started, I'm like, oh, this is it.
This is the song. I thought it was hilarious. Because it goes so well with Bowser as a character, where he's like this big hard ass, but he's just so soft for Peach.
Yes.
And but he also isn't the smartest guy around. So he has like a couple really good lyrics, and then he just goes, peaches, 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 peaches. Like, I'm just like that. It's so good. It fits so well.
And then we have that wonderful dynamic between him and Kamek.
Oh, I love them.
And Kamek's great. I want more of that in the sequel, of just like their dynamic, because that had me.
I love when Kamek
laughing
is
so
dressed up
hard.
like Peach, and then they get interrupted by the Koopa, and
Yep.
both of them are like, what? And you just have Kamek in this little blonde wig with lipstick on.
It's great. So overall, it's just a very enjoyable movie. One of the biggest criticisms I've got from this is the story's light, and it's pretty light. There's an underlying story about like following what you want to do, whether it makes you happy, whether your family approves of it or not. The only one that has faith in him is his brother, and they kind of play off with that.
I feel like
they also have the
the
stereotypical
story,
save the kingdom from the monster.
I think though the story might be light. It has its meat where it needs meat.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
because
it's definitely, there's room for improvement.
Yeah. I don't think that putting a story where a story isn't would be beneficial, because then you'd have the fans being like, what the fuck? Like,
I don't
that
know,
never happened.
Because like I like good story, but I also know the alternative when like just because you're deep doesn't mean you're saying anything.
Yeah.
Like that's the case with Rey and the Last Dragon.
Whereas
just, like,
I think that
back
this
off
one,
a little bit.
Whenever you look at it as a whole lightly, you're like, yeah, it doesn't really have a story. But then I feel like as you dig a little bit under the surface, it does, because Mario quit a good job. He essentially made Luigi quit a good job to start their own plumbing business that isn't going too awesome. So their dad is like super disappointed in Mario for like quitting a good job to follow his dreams. And then to drag his brother down with him. So you have this like heavy weight on Mario of like, if I don't succeed, I'm not just ruining my life, I'm ruining my brother's life. And my brother means everything to me.
Yeah. And now my brother is in imminent danger.
Yeah.
By
so you
who's
have
not only
kind
gonna
of like
bring him down like I am, but who's going to hurt him.
Yeah. Because you have the theme of like brotherhood and family, a lot of like breaking familial curses and stuff like that, with the, you know, having his dad at the end be like, I'm so proud of you. You did what you loved. You saved the city, which is what you've always wanted to do. So I think that the depth of the story is in the dynamic of characters, not necessarily like a plot. Which I think is still good storytelling. Okay. You know, we got to see moments where Mario wanted to give up, and then he remembers his brother and why he's doing this and why he gets up, why he won't quit.
Yeah.
And then we also have on the same spectrum, Luigi.
I love that. It's a little touch, but that flashback of them as babies.
Yeah, the babies.
And like his brother's always there for him.
I thought baby Luigi was gonna cry, and I was like, part of me wanted him to like, but you also have the development of like, I'm scared, Mario, and you know, he's scared the whole time, and then like he loves his brother just as much as his brother loves him, and he puts himself in the line of danger to protect his brother at the very end, where they can then work together because they're always better together.
That was the scene where I was just like, Peach, sit down. This is about the brothers.
I would be very upset if Peach was like, I'll save you, Mario. Just sit the fuck down.
Yeah.
This is brother time.
Yes, this is brother time.
But like, I really like the subtle development because, again, it's a video game adaptation. Putting development and storylines where there isn't one can be so detrimental to the actual game and the reason this game, the movie exists.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that it's very apparent that it's a love letter to the games.
Yeah.
All the references, I think there were so many references that even I got. I can't. I know. Oh my god, I love it. And there were also some that I'm sure were there that I just didn't get because I haven't played enough.
Haven't gotten there yet
to understand.
So overall, what would you give this movie?
I would definitely let this movie sleep at the foot of the bed.
Yup, that's where I'm at. I'm just like, it's a little better than worth a watch, but it's not quite part of the family yet. It can do better.
It has room to improve, but it's allowed to sleep at the foot of the bed for sure.
All right, folks, what did you think of the Super Mario Brothers movie? What other Nintendo movies would you guys like to see? Because I'm all for Zelda. But with Zelda, I'm going to be more strict with like, hey, you got to hit that story. You got to hit those beats.
Hit the story beats, but also don't mess up Link.
Yeah, don't mess up Link.
Because I'd be really upset if they messed up Link.
That's right. All right, and let us know what you thought, and we'll see you all with the next review.
Toodles!